Hey everybody, good morning and welcome to Inside Texas Politics. I'm David Schechter, in for Jason Whiteley. Let's start with the race for Congressional District 32, now rated as a virtual toss-up by at least two top independent analysts. Democratic challenger Colin Allred is trying to knock off incumbent Republican Pete Sessions, and in a recent interview with Jason Whiteley and Bud Kennedy of the Star-Telegram, Allred talks about why the race is so close.
Colin, thanks for the time.
Thanks so much for having me.
President Obama recently endorsed you. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I'm curious, though, is that going to help or hurt you with swing voters that are Republican that you need support of?
Well, first of all, it's an honor. It was an honor to serve in his administration, and it's an honor to have his support. I think it's a recognition of the movement that we've been building here, and I think that there are a lot of folks who are looking back with some hindsight on the Obama administration, on the Obama presidency, and seeing that it went a little bit better than it's going right now. And so I think that's going to help, but I got to say, it's not going to come down to national endorsements or anything like that. This is going to be about local support, and we've been building a lot of that.
And you talked about momentum. You outraised Pete Sessions last quarter. How much will a win cost?
Well, it's going to cost a lot, and I think that's just part of it. We are here in a place with a lot of folks here. Our media market is one that's one of the biggest in the country, and so you got to communicate to folks. I want them to know what I stand for. I want them to know that I was born and raised here. This is my home, and that this race means a lot to me.
And you don't have to give me numbers unless you want to, but I'm curious about your internal polls. How close is this race?
Well, I think we're in a dead heat. I think we're right there. We got to make sure that we do everything right in these final days, and it's going to be a sprint, but this is a very close race.
Well, people have talked a lot about how Clinton beat Trump in this district, but really all the other Republicans did well. The Republicans have had something of a rebound lately, did well in a state senate election in South Texas, doing well as long as the economy and jobs are good. Is this really a Democrats' race to win?
I think it's a race for me to win. I'm not going to speak broadly for Democrats. I think that I have a story to tell about growing up here, about being from here, about what I want to do for this area, versus somebody who I think has lost touch with this district, who doesn't come back here and talk to us, and who I think is out of touch with who we are here.
Now, tell me about, you're both Methodists. I thought that was interesting. He goes to Highland Park, you go to
Greenland Hills.
Greenland Hills. Have you found anything in common in your faith?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I think that my preacher the other day was saying, just do the next right thing. When you're in a tough spot, do the next right thing. And that's kind of a guiding principle that I have, whether it's in this campaign or in my legal career. And I hope that that probably carries over for Congressman Sessions as well.
Yes.
You mentioned your story. Is this a race about issues, or is this a race about the generational divide?
I think it's going to be both. I think it's going to be about the issues that are facing our community, but I think also part of the story here is that I grew up with those issues, that I know what they are. I know what North Texas families are facing. And so that gives me a little bit more insight into it, and I think will allow me to be a more effective legislator for this community.
Outside of the fact that you're here more than he's been here, what in his record do you think, do you object to? What that he voted for do you disagree with?
Well, I think he's overseen us becoming the state with the highest uninsured rate in the country. I think that right now he's allowing Donald Trump to attack trade policy, which has been a big beneficiary for us here in North Texas. We've been big beneficiaries of that. I think that he supported a president who doesn't represent the values that we believe in, and so I think those are all issues that people are going to be interested in.
In 2016, as you probably well know, Pete Sessions got more votes than Hillary Clinton 2 years ago. Where do you find new Democratic voters, or how do you get those who voted Republican to hear your story and switch over and turn out on election day for you?
Well, I think there are a lot of people who are looking around right now who are Republicans or independents who have been maybe leaning that way, who don't recognize themselves in this version of the Republican Party, who don't see themselves in the Donald Trump version of this party. And they're looking around for somewhere to go, and I think they'll be coming over to us because we have a message that I think that is inclusive. I think that's going to allow us to reach out to some folks maybe we haven't. Now, to answer your other question, there are a lot of folks here who haven't been voting, and we're going to reach out to them. We've got a grassroots army that's allowing us to do that. It's important to me that we expand our democracy here. I think that's good for our politics. I think it's good for our democracy as well.
Colin, there's a push from some people inside the Democratic Party for the old guard, like Nancy Pelosi, to step aside so a new generation can take over. Is it time for her to do so?
Well, I'm certainly running in part because I think we need to have new leadership. And I want to see us have new leadership. And so I'm going to look at who's running. I'm going to make a decision based on that, on who I think is available, who I think has the best pitch for where we should go going forward. But I do think we desperately need to have a new generation of leadership come forward.
Colin, with football season starting, we're talking about the anthem again. You wrote an opinion piece last year saying Vice President Pence should at least respect the message of the protesters. If you were still playing for the Titans, would you stand or kneel? What do you feel now about the anthem?
Well, I would stand, but I think that we as Americans, and we can disagree on this, but I think what we should agree on is about a person's right to protest, about their First Amendment rights. And that's a separate issue from whether or not you support the reason that they are protesting. That goes back to the very beginning of our country. We don't want a government that's deciding what kind of speech is acceptable and what's not.
General Paxton, when he was here, said that should be up to the owners. Do the players have a role in that decision?
The players absolutely should have a role in it. It's a cooperative thing going on there in the NFL. The NFL does not exist without the players, and it also doesn't exist without the owners, so they should be able to work together.
And you're backed by the Players Association, I see. Is this one of their issues?
Well, I think their issues that they want their players to have a mechanism to have their voices heard, and I think that's where they need to sit down with the owners and figure out how can we make a positive impact going forward.
Colin, last week, former Congressman Martin Frost told Politico that Sessions is very aggressive, a tough campaigner. Frost said, I don't think he's a very good congressman, but he's a hell of a campaigner. How tough, how dirty is this race going to get in the next 3 months?
Well, I don't know, and I'm not going to speculate on it. I know that I'm going to be talking about the issues that I think matter to North Texans, and I'm going to be focused on that, and I have been this entire campaign. I think people are ready for that. I think that they're tired of constant negativity. I think they want to see what you believe in instead of just what you're against, and that's what I'm going to be pushing.
If elected, day one, what do you do?
I think the first bill, if I have my way out of this Congress, should be an infrastructure bill. You probably have seen we are one of the most congested cities in the country now. We are growing extremely rapidly. We need desperately to invest in our infrastructure. I think we should be focused on that right from the beginning.
Do you have anything to say about the Russia, the ongoing, is this all about Trump and Russia or not? What do you hear in the district?
You know, I don't hear a lot about it. I do think that people are concerned, and I think that they want to see the Mueller investigation protected, and they want to see that get to the bottom of whatever happened. But I think that people have such kind of pressing concerns that are kitchen table issues that maybe kind of trump that in a way. But I am concerned about it, and I think we need to make sure that we're protecting the integrity of our elections just so that no foreign power can meddle in any of our elections.
Sounds good. Colin Allred, Democratic candidate for Congress in a close race with Pete Sessions. Good luck and thanks for your time.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Polls